Fake cops handcuffed my 8-year-old. Special Forces dad broke every bone in their bodies. Two men in stolen police uniforms handcuffed my 8-year-old daughter for riding her bike on the sidewalk. They made one fatal mistake. They did it while her Special Forces father was watching from across the street. My name is David Martinez, and I'm a single father raising my daughter Emma in Riverside Commons. 8 years old, pigtails, gap-toothed smile, and the kind of fearless spirit that made her race her pink bicycle around our neighborhood like she owned the place. After 3 tours with Army Special Forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, I came home to discover my wife had left us for her yoga instructor. So it was just me and Emma against the world, and I was determined to give her the childhood I never had. Our neighborhood was perfect for kids. Quiet streets, sidewalks everywhere, friendly families. Or at least it used to be before Richard Blackstone moved in and got elected HOA president. Blackstone was everything I despised in a leader. Never served a day in uniform, but strutted around like a 5-star general. 50-something, expensive suits, slicked back gray hair, and the kind of entitled attitude that made my trigger finger itch. His first act as president was implementing community safety protocols. Translation: hiring his brother-in-law's security company to patrol our streets like we lived in a war zone. Mr. Martinez, he announced at our first meeting, children on bicycles create liability issues. All recreational activities must be confined to designated areas. I looked around the room. Designated areas? You mean like sidewalks and streets we pay for? His smile was colder than a Taliban cave. I mean supervised zones where accidents won't result in lawsuits. Emma raised her small hand from beside me. Can I still ride my bike, Daddy? Of course you can, Princess, I said, staring directly at Blackstone. This is America. The harassment started immediately. Blackstone security goons would follow Emma whenever she rode her bike, documenting violations with their cameras and clipboards. They'd shout at her to slow down, get off sidewalks, stay in her yard. My 8-year-old daughter was being stalked by grown men for the crime of being a kid. The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was across the street helping my elderly neighbor Mrs. Patterson with her groceries when I heard Emma's scream. Not her normal playground scream or skin knee cry. This was pure terror. I dropped the grocery bags and spun around. 2 men in what looked like police uniforms had Emma off her bike, her small wrists zip-tied behind her back. She was crying and calling for me while they dragged her toward a black SUV with fake police markings. Daddy, help me. Time slowed down the way it used to during combat operations. My Special Forces training kicked in automatically. Assess the threat, identify the mission, execute with extreme prejudice. These weren't cops. Real officers don't handcuff 8-year-olds for riding bicycles. Real cops have marked units, backup, and radio protocols. These were kidnappers in Halloween costumes. And they had my daughter. I crossed that street moving faster than I'd ever moved in my life. 18 years of military training, 3 combat deployments, and every protective instinct I possess focused on 2 targets who just made the worst mistake of their lives. The first fake cop, tall, skinny, cheap badge, was trying to lift Emma into their vehicle. He never saw me coming. I hit him from behind with the kind of force that separates vertebrae. He went down like a demolished building, screaming as his shoulder blade snapped with an audible crack. The second one, shorter, stockier, holding the zip-tie cutter, turned just in time to catch my elbow across his jaw. The sound was like breaking concrete. His jaw definitely wasn't connecting to his skull anymore. Emma, get behind the car. She scrambled away, sobbing but safe. That's when the real punishment began. The tall one was trying to crawl toward the SUV, dragging his useless arm. I grabbed him by his fake badge and lifted him off the ground. Who sent you? I demanded, applying pressure to his broken shoulder. He screamed like a wounded animal. B. Blackstone. Richard Blackstone hired us. Please. To do what? Scare the kid. Make her stop riding. We weren't gonna hurt her. The short one was conscious but couldn't speak through his shattered jaw. He was making gurgling sounds and pointing at his partner like he wanted to confess. That's when I noticed neighbors gathering, phones out, recording everything. Perfect. Gentlemen, I announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. You just committed multiple felonies. Kidnapping, impersonating police officers, assault on a minor, conspiracy. I looked directly at Mrs. Patterson, who was filming with her phone. Please call 911. Tell them we have 2 men impersonating officers who just attempted to kidnap my daughter. Then I turned back to my prisoners. The tall one was going into shock from his injuries. The short one was choking on his own blood. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. You're going to tell the real police everything about who hired you, how much they paid, and what your instructions were. Because if my daughter has nightmares because of this, I'm going to find you both and finish what we started here. The ambulance arrived first, followed by police cars and Detective Ray Morrison, the same cop who'd worked other neighborhood justice cases. The fake cops were so eager to cooperate, they started confessing before the paramedics finished treating them. Turns out Blackstone had hired them from some unlicensed security company, giving them fake police uniforms and telling them to arrest children who violated HOA rules. He wanted to terrorize families into compliance by making kids afraid to play outside. Within hours, Blackstone was in handcuffs facing federal charges. Conspiracy to kidnap, child endangerment, impersonating law enforcement, and about 12 other felonies that would put him away for decades. The 2 fake cops, one needed surgery to repair his shoulder and jaw. The other required facial reconstruction. Both got 5 years in federal prison for attempted kidnapping. But the real justice came during Blackstone's trial. The prosecutor played Mrs. Patterson's video for the jury. Grown men handcuffing a crying 8-year-old girl while her father crossed the street like an avenging angel. The jury deliberated for 22 minutes. Blackstone got 15 years in federal prison. Emma and I still live in Riverside Commons, but now she rides her bike wherever she wants. The new HOA president is a retired teacher who actually likes children. They say never mess with a man's family, but some people have to learn that lesson the hard way. Blackstone thought he could terrorize an 8-year-old girl to prove his authority. He learned that some fathers have particular skills that make them nightmares for people like him. Emma's not afraid anymore. She knows her daddy will always protect her, no matter what uniform the bad guys wear. If you've got your own stories about standing up to bullies, drop them in the comments. Hit subscribe for more justice stories. And remember, some lines should never be crossed. Stay strong, parents. Our kids are counting on us. Hoa.